You know, I'm here to confess, come out of the closet, as it were, that I'm a dog person. There are cat people, there are fish people, there are pet people. But those of us who love our four-legged companions know that they are the way to a healthier life. But what if your pet, your companion, has health issues of their own? Well, the answer is Scouts Fund, and we're here tonight with the founder, Lisa Stahr. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
So tell me about Scouts Fund, and where did that name come from?
Scouts Animal Rehab Therapy Fund is the actual name, and it came from my dog Scout, who had a desperate need for rehab therapy, or physical therapy, as it were, for animals when she was born because she'd had distemper. I started a physical rehabilitation therapy center in her name back in 2005, and I left there last year and started Scouts Fund, Scouts Animal Rehab Therapy Fund, to help other people get rehab therapy for their pets. Now, you mentioned something that I had never heard of before, or I guess I should know this, but that distemper can be something that's much more serious down the line. Distemper is a horrible disease. It actually causes a lot of neurological damage in dogs. And Scout was a perfect example of that. As a puppy, she would walk about 3 feet and fall down and roll over. She didn't really know where her limbs were in space. She was partially blind. She was hearing impaired. And she was brain damaged. So she was about a 5-month-old puppy in her brain. So. Wow. And how long did you have Scout with you? I had her for 3 years. We started Scout's House thinking that she would be with us through the whole process, but the distemper virus actually damaged her kidneys, so she went into renal failure and died about 9 months before we opened Scout's House. So we lost her, which was sad. But this is, I consider this her legacy. This is what she's gone on and done. So what are some of the issues that affect not only dogs, but all pets that can be treated? I mean, there was a time when, for instance, if a horse was ill, you put it down, or if something was wrong with your dog, it was automatically you had to put them down. Yeah. But now, it's very different now. Veterinary medicine has really evolved, and especially in the last few years, and things that people might have euthanized their pets for before, they can treat now. In some part because there are specialties like physical rehabilitation therapy that they can tap. Also because animals are becoming much more important to families, and you know, if you have an animal you love dearly, you're going to go to great lengths to see that that animal gets the medical care that you would expect for yourself. And so now today it's available in veterinary medicine. So do you think it's not only that there are now more ways and resources and tools to treat sick animals, sick pets, but also that we, over the last few decades, have begun to realize how important pets are to humans. It's not just a thing we own. Right. It's not, it's a family member. These animals, to the people that who we see at Scouts Fund and also at Scouts House, these are family members. These are important parts of the family, no different from, in many ways, the kids or the spouses or the significant others. It's all about love. And these animals are very, very loved, and these people want them to have more comfortable lives or longer lives even, and with rehab therapy they can do that. I remember in the, I believe it was the late 1980s, early 1990s, there was an organization which still exists in San Francisco called PAWS, Pets Are Wonderful Support, specifically for people living with AIDS, HIV. We know within that community how important a pet companion can be, but how important to the health of humans is having a loving pet? Whether it's you're dealing with cancer or emotional issues or another disability or challenge, how much a part of a human's health are pets? I think there are studies that certainly speak to that, that we'll talk about, you know, just watching a bunch of fish in an aquarium, for example, can lower your blood pressure. I think the important part is that we recognize more and more now is that animals are an integral part of our lives as family members, but having pets in your life and helping you get through the difficult times sometimes that you face, such as with illness or you know, sometimes mental illness, pets have been shown to be very helpful with that. Animals serve a lot of focus, or excuse me, a lot of different provide a lot of different benefits to people in different ways. But I think for most families, it's really about, or most people, most pet owners, it's really about the love you get, and you just want to return it, and you become so invested in that personality of that pet. Now, I understand there are many different things that can happen to a pet that Scouts
Fund can help fund restorative surgery or practice for?
Well, what we do is, at Scouts Fund, is we underwrite the cost of rehab therapy for animals from 4 different groups. There's canine unit dogs and assistance dogs, pets from shelters and rescue groups, and then also, and this is important for a lot of people, is that pets from low-income families or households. So it's really important to, in this economy especially, to people to still try to get rehab therapy for their animal. They can't afford it. It's very expensive.
Right. And I understand we have some video here of a dog who was actually paralyzed and helped through Scouts Fund. Let's take a look.
She was actually helped by Scouts House, yeah.
Scouts House. Let's take a look.
Our patient sustained spinal trauma and neurological damage when she ran into a tree while chasing a ball. Spinal surgery repaired some of the damage, but she was referred to Scouts House for rehabilitation therapy. We were especially careful in her early therapy because she'd just undergone surgery, but after several weeks of intensive neurological rehabilitation, including balance and coordination activities and core stabilization exercises, she learned to walk again.
That is both heartbreaking and heartwarming.
It is,
seeing
absolutely.
that dog pull its legs behind like that.
Yeah, it is.
Normally, I shouldn't say normally, but before something like Scouts House or Scouts Fund existed, if you saw a dog like that, you would just think, well, that dog for its own benefit has to be euthanized.
Right.
What was the treatment that actually enabled them to get back to health?
They did a lot of different things with that dog at Scouts House. They did, and all of these things, with the exception of the hydrotherapy, are things that normally you would find in a human physical therapy center. They did electrical stimulation on the muscle groups to help strengthen them. They did core stabilization exercises, try to build up her, her center. They did hydrotherapy, low-level laser therapy, therapeutic exercises that are tailored just to her issue.
Right.
They did a lot of different things.
Now, of course, there's a difference. You know, Scouts House is where these treatments take place, and
Correct.
Scouts Fund specifically addresses the era in which we live. There's
Yes.
not a lot of it costs money.
It's very expensive.
So if you've got, especially someone maybe who's low income, has a companion dog, and something like this happens, boy, losing that companion would be even more devastating than for one of us.
Absolutely.
So how does Scouts Fund help?
Well, our goal is to help, for example, with low-income households, our goal is to help those people who don't want to lose their companions, who want to see their companions up and moving about as they used to. If that's possible, our goal is to underwrite the cost of the rehab therapy so that they can achieve that.
Well, and also help these dogs live longer.
Absolutely.
There's one more video that I'd like to take a look at, because it's not only just pets that have had, you know, spinal injuries, such as that first clip,
Right.
but older dogs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's take a look at this video clip about how you deal with geriatric pets.
Okay.
When this 11-year-old golden retriever first came to Scouts House for rehab therapy, she had decreased balance and coordination, and because her back legs were very weak, she was dragging her back feet and stumbling when walking. This dog's treatment plan focused on improving her core stability and strengthening her weak hind limbs, using hydrotherapy and intense therapeutic exercise. Her owners say she moves better today at 12 years of age than she did when she was 9 years old.
I just love that segment. I mean, maybe it's because the dog of my childhood was a golden retriever. So, I mean, just seeing...
They're lovable dogs.
Yeah. You know, in our last few moments, I want to talk about something, and that is the connection between the LGBT community and pets. And you think that there is one or something to that?
At Scouts House, our second largest demographic is the LGBT community. I mean, they're integral parts of their families, and they want, you know, more than anything for these animals to be happy, healthy, and live a long life. So we treat a lot of dogs from those families.
Yeah, why do you think that is?
I just think because, you know, some people would say, oh, they're just surrogate children, but that's not true, because some of our clients have children as well. But it's just, they're important parts of their family units.
Well, we're dog people. Like Thomas Jefferson said he couldn't imagine living in a world without books. You say...
I couldn't imagine living in a world without animals.
Thank you. We've been speaking with Lisa Stahr, fellow dog person. I'm David Perry, and woof woof. Thanks for watching 10%. See you next week.
Hello, I'm Dan Schachner. Check me out on Brain Fuel TV and get a look at entertaining, educational TV.